Welcome to the St. Barnabas Daily Devotion for Monday the 17th of August. Today's passage is John chapter 11 verses 53 to 57. So from that day on they plotted to kill him. As a result, Jesus no longer went about publicly among the Jews, but he withdrew to a town called Ephraim in an area near the wilderness, and he stayed there with the disciples. Now the Jewish Passover was near, and many people went up from the country to Jerusalem to purify themselves before the Passover. They kept looking for Jesus and asking one another as they stood in the temple courts, "What do you think? Will he come to the feast at all?" But the chief priests and Pharisees had given orders that anyone who knew where he was must report it so that they could arrest him. Today's reflections are by Linda Vu, who's part of our Fairfield morning congregation. This passage is deeply convicting. After hearing that Jesus had raised Lazarus from the dead, the chief priests and Pharisees still chose to kill him. Instead of falling down before him, we read, "From that day on they plotted to kill him." Verse 53. Their hearts had become so hardened that even a miracle that great did not lead them to faith. It reminds me to examine my own heart. Am I willing to let God's word change me? Or do I sometimes resist him when his ways are different from my own? As the Passover drew near, the people kept asking, "What do you think? Will he come to the feast at all?" Verse 56. While the religious leaders were searching for Jesus to arrest him, verse 57, Jesus was never anxious or rushed. He lived according to his Father's perfect timing, not the plans of his enemies. This encourages me to trust God's timing even when life feels uncertain or difficult. This passage also speaks into my everyday life. In the midst of the busyness and of raising two young boys, I often find it easier to scroll through Instagram or simply fall into bed exhausted after a shower. Yet I wonder, am I still seeking Jesus with the same eagerness as the crowds who were looking for him? I want that same longing in my own heart, to seek him wholeheartedly, spend time in his word and prayer, and trust that time with him is never wasted.